Question: who are Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael and Donatello? If you're an adult, you'll probably say Renaissance artists, but kids know better. They're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a cartoon and comic book craze which has swept the world. And stand by, there's now a feature movie about the Fab Four, which is about to open in Australia. What it all adds up to is Turtle Mania.
If you grew up with the heroes in half shells, you would have a favourite turtle. Even Kevin Eastman, the co-creator of the Turtles, had a favourite. In 2014, Eastman stated, "Michelangelo is my favourite turtle. He was the first ever drawn. Even though it's hard to pick, he is my favourite." That first drawing of Michelangelo was etched into life in Northampton in November of 1983. As a joke, Eastman drew a turtle standing on its hind legs, wearing a mask, with nunchucks strapped to its arms. Eastman wrote, "Ninja Turtle," on top of the page. Laughing, co-creator Peter Laird drew a more refined version of the turtle, which eventually turned into a team of four:
Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello.
By the end of the 80s and into the early 90s, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a pop culture phenomena, a household name, and the basis of a common playground argument. Who's the best turtle?
I think that's why the kids like them, because they identify with all children and the kids can identify with each one of them.
Well, a little later on, I want the kids to start thinking about why you like the turtles so much, because I might come to you and ask you that question. Why? Okay, yeah, you know the answer?
We're upset for that.
Okay, when we come back, the turtles are going to perform their hit, Walk Straight. Back in a moment.
Anybody can be a Ninja Turtle. You just got to buy the right stuff.
Curiously, with the pandemonium that erupted around TMNT, it was almost as if the Ninja Turtles unlocked something subconsciously in the mental sewers of young boys. Theorised by Carl Jung many years ago, the archetypes of masculinity bear a striking resemblance to the Ninja Turtles. As insane as it may sound, it's my belief that the Ninja Turtles became so popular due to the fact that each turtle is a representation of the masculine male archetypes as defined by Carl Jung and later Robert Moore. Carl Jung, one of the early and most influential modern psychologists, believed that the collective unconscious is reflected through symbols and ritual. As a student of alchemy, astrology, dream interpretation, and tarot, he believed that individuals could tap into the collective unconscious and explore the archetypal behaviours that resided within. Years later, psychologist Robert Moore took the concept of Jung's archetypes and used it to create a framework that explained the development of integrating masculinity to turn boys into fully developed men. According to Moore, masculine psychology is made up of four major archetypes: king, warrior, magician, and lover. In order for a man to achieve mature masculine strength and energy, he must be in touch with all four. So how does any of this relate to our favourite slimy squad of green ninjutsu practitioners? Well, Moore argues that each male archetype consists of three parts: the full and highest expression of the archetype, and two shadows of that archetype. Through teenage life, a man must integrate these shadows to become a full man. To better understand this, Moore portrays each archetype as a triangle. Here's an example. When you unpack the framework, it's clear that each archetype relates to a particular turtle. As a particular teenage ninja tries to integrate the opposing aspects of his personality, teenage boys in the 80s and 90s were drawn to the struggle that most related to their own subconscious battle. Firstly, Leonardo, the leader of the squad, which coincides nicely with the king archetype. His purpose is to provide order in the group, as well as protection, and to be decisive. When we look at the triangle, we can see the shadows that he must deal with. Often, Leo comes unstuck in his leader duties by either tyrannically deciding that his opinion is the only opinion that matters, or by being too weak to defend his family. For Leo to access the full king archetype, Moore states that all other archetypes must be integrated. if the turtles are disjointed, then so is Leonardo. Raphael is the warrior. His shadows represent his more bullying nature and his inability to be weaker than others. Donatello, on the other hand, represents the magician, curious, reflective, and a master of technology. Writer Arthur C. Clarke once famously stated that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Finally, there's Michelangelo and the final archetype, the lover. Sure, frequently he's depicted as the one that's loving, April, but the lover archetype runs much deeper. The lover opens up and uses all of their senses in all areas of their life, experiencing as many dimensions of their life as possible, as often as possible. One of his shadows is a mama's boy, Splinter's boy, I guess, who never wants to leave the nest. The other shadow is the dreamer. When Mikey is under the influence of the dreamer shadow, he too often has his head in the clouds and drifts away from reality. Internally, the Ninja Turtles must try to integrate their shadows to become fully integrated men. Externally, they face a representation of their shadow, Shredder, an idealistic tyrant who does not hesitate to use manipulation and bullying tactics against his foes. And whilst many interpretations portray a different level of goofiness to the character, I think it's interesting to analyse the version portrayed in the 1990 film. This version of Shredder offers a refuge for teenagers that don't want to grow up. He grows his Foot Clan from lost boys who lose themselves in their shadow, eventually accepting the mask. So what does all this have to do with having a favourite turtle? And why did TMNT see such success? I mean, perhaps we are all on paths to integrate the aspects of our shadows to become fully integrated men. And perhaps subconsciously, we are drawn to our favourite turtle as it represents the archetype that we most need to focus on. Or perhaps I'm reaching, and your favourite turtle is due to their weapon or your favourite colour or something. I don't know.